Did you know that a drone as small as a DJI Mini 3 can punch a hole in giant firefighting airplanes? Yep, that's why we don't fly in restricted zones, kids. 2025 has started off with a big change for drone pilots. As of January 13th, DJI has removed their built-in geofencing system from all of their drones, which would stop pilots from accidentally flying into restricted areas without permission. Now the responsibility is on your shoulders. I'm Emily, also known as the Drone Angel, and welcome back to your one-stop shop for everything drone related. Now, lucky for you, I happen to know plenty of mobile apps and web apps which offer reliable info on airspace restrictions, and I'm happy to share them with you in this video. I'm going to start off by going over what exactly DJI changed. If you want the app recommendations, feel free to skip ahead. Now, the most important detail is that DJI removed their own geofencing system, which is designed to help pilots and potentially cover DJI's behind by locking certain restricted areas. Not only did you need to get LANC approval from the US government, but you also needed to go through DJI's own FlySafe portal. It was a two-step process that not everyone was a fan of, since LANC approval is all you need to legally fly in the US. It was just an extra restriction that only DJI pilots needed to deal with. Now, DJI has swapped to using official FAA data and changed the restricted zones to what they're calling now enhanced warning zones. Now, you still get an alert, but it's only a suggestion and it won't stop you from flying. So if you want to fly into an airport without permission, DJI will totally let you. The US government, on the other hand, won't be so generous. Now, if you've been in the drone space long enough, you know that won't stop all the reckless pilots out there. Now, even though I like that DJI got rid of the extra step, I still have a lot of concerns about how people will behave without the safeguard. Thankfully, none of us need a multi-billion-dollar company playing babysitter, whether we're new pilots or experienced professionals, or at least not when it comes to restricted zones. But DJI can keep pampering us with new sensors and anti-crash measures on their drones. Please and thank you. There are tons of apps out there if you know where to look. But before we get started, please take a moment and hit the subscribe button so you can be notified when new videos go up. One of my personal favorites is Drone Assist. It's accurate, and perhaps most importantly, it has great international coverage. Now, I know I focus on the US in most of my videos because, that's where I'm based. But international coverage is a huge deal if you live somewhere else or if you fly while traveling, which I love to do. Now, in the UK, Drone Assist is the only government-approved app, which means you need to be using it if you're based there. In the US here, Drone Assist offers easy LANC authorization, although it's not FAA approved for its info on restricted flight zones. Still, it's an accurate source, and it also has drawing tools to help you plan your flight in addition to the satellite maps. Drone Assist is available on Google Play and the Apple App Store. If all you need is like the simplest solution, then I'd probably recommend Airspace Link. It's really straightforward, but still has a lot to offer. There's operation planning, including a map with restricted areas and LANC authorization. There's weather information and a paid option where you can add an entire crew to your flight plans. Another cool thing about Airspace Link is that they're involved in advanced drone safety and regulations on a number of levels, including working with first responders. So using Airspace Link is like the opposite of whatever that guy was doing. Now, I find myself using Airspace Link the most when it comes to getting LANC authorization. I find it to be the best for my purposes due to the lack of bugs across all their platforms. Their website is super user-friendly and their customer service is seriously the best. Next up, we have Autopylot, a clean and competent option for all-in-one flight planning, not just for checking airspace restrictions. Yes, you can get LANC authorization and see restrictions, but you can also create flight checklists, view the weather, and even buy drone insurance through Autopylot. Now, that makes Autopylot really helpful, let's say if you're like a hardcore hobbyist, and especially if you're a professional. Now, all of these features are a must-have for any drone business, whether you get them through Autopylot or not. Now, there's no web app for this one, and it's available in both the Google Play Store and the App Store. My final big recommendation is Aloft Air Control and AirAware, but hang in there because I also have some honorable mentions at the end that you should really know about as a drone pilot. Now, I used Aloft back when they were still called Kitty Hawk. It's a full flight planning suite similar to Autopylot, with weather info, pre-planning tools, and FAA-approved info on airspace restrictions. LANC authorization is free for individuals, and there is a free tier, but large groups are charged. Luckily, the extra benefits that come with a paid tier, like fleet management and live streaming, are well worth the money for the right business. Aloft is the old grandpa of drone apps, but don't let that fool you. They managed to be hip with the kids and the US government at the same time, which is not an easy accomplishment. For my first honorable mention, no app gets so close yet so far as UASidekick. Now it's FAA approved and it does all the bare necessities quite well. The main reason why I can't put UASidekick on the same tier as the other apps is because it charges for Lance authorization. Now I know most of you aren't part of large businesses, so having to pay for Lance authorization when there are free tools out there is it's a major blow. It'll give you a couple of free authorizations before they start charging, or it offers Lance for free if you're a member of the Academy of Model Aeronautics. But for most of us, there is a cutoff point. Plus, even though the features are similar to Aloft, it doesn't offer as much. It's a pay-to-play option that gets overshadowed by all the other amazing options out there. Finally, I want to bring your attention to a web app called SkyVector. Now, this isn't a full suite of flight tools like the other apps. Instead, it's packed with aeronautical charts and maps that span over the entire world, including helpful information on thousands of international airports. It's really good to know it exists, even if it's not your go-to app to use. Now, some of the information on SkyVector is hard to find elsewhere, and boy, there's a lot of it. So to recap, Drone Assist is great for UK citizens, international coverage, and Lance authorization. Airspace Link has complete FAA approval, freelance, weather info, and a paid tier for flight crews. Autopylot has complete FAA approval, freelance, and a complete suite for flight planning, including weather and even insurance. Aloft has complete FAA approval, freelance, and is the most feature-rich option if you're willing to pay for the business tiers. UASidekick has complete FAA approval and limited freelance, but is mostly a paid option. Its best use case scenario is for companies. And SkyVector is a helpful bonus tool with tons of airspace info for geeks like me. I use SkyVector all the time. Now, hopefully one of these is your dream app that suits your needs perfectly without being a headache to use. I mean, we are spoiled for choices in 2025. So DJI's changes are nothing to worry about. If anything, they're a plus. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment or a question below, and I'll see you guys next time.